What about the 1974 football team? I can't imagine how great of an honor that is. And I was part of that, and so was Mike Popson, God bless his soul, and John Walker, and we had another coach,
Coach Kelzinski.
Coach Kelzinski, who was a riot. We were all together, the four of us, and I thought we did a pretty damn good job handling you spoiled brats from Birmingham. But anyway,
Cake eaters.
cake eaters, I called you all kinds of names, and you laughed and you kind of enjoyed the names, but we really were a good football team. We were a together team. What a year we had. We had five of you who had parents that played football. My friend Earl Morrill had Matt Morrill playing one of the tackles, and we had Rocky Road, the tight end, who was a quarterback at the school he came from. Simmons, our punter and receiver.
Defensive end.
And Kevin Hart, Leon Hart's son, and Roger Zadkoff's son, David. Those were 5 Detroit Lion boys. And so a lot of people thought that was the big reason why we won, because we had the Detroit Lions playing on Friday nights rather than their sons. So I had to explain that to a few people. They didn't understand it. But it was fun coaching you guys. And I'm sure that your dads, the Detroit Lion boys' dads were very happy that their sons played on such a great football team. Our offense was simple. We blocked well. We tackled well on defense. Coach Kelzinski did a great job with Coach Walker, and we were a real team. We were together, and we had a lot of fun. I know that, because you guys used to laugh a lot, and I used to, calm you down, because I wanted you to be serious, but you had a way of handling me, and I guess I had a way of handling you too. But what a wonderful year it was to be with such great kids. I had so much fun. I can still see the backfield: Cullen, Warner, Fox, Levoys, and Sarah, my quarterback, Hendricks. What a backfield. And we didn't have all that fancy, offense, wide outs, spread and all that. We had 3 backs, 2 tight ends, and all we did was run and make yardage because our offensive line, we were really blessed there too with a wonderful offensive line. We were a solid team, both offensively and defensively, guys, and our kicking team wasn't so bad either. Most of all, the reason why we were champions is because we were a team. We had good leadership on our team: Kevin Hart, Ted Fox, and
Tommy Gorman.
Tommy Gorman. Boy, I used to call Tommy the Beagle, but that little skinny guy sure was courageous. I remember some of the hits he made on some of the players we played against. What a 3 good captains, and what wonderful players we had on our team. You all cared for each other. I think that's the main reason. I mean, we had talent, of course, but the thing that made us so good was we really cared for each other. And I hope that you are carrying that caring attitude with you in these days. That shows you, if you work hard and if you dedicate yourself and you're not a selfish person, a lot of great things can happen to you in life. And I think that most of you that I know of today are doing very well. You have wonderful families, and you're taking care of your families, and you're doing the same thing you did when you played football. you're working hard and you're taking care of yourselves and your families. And I really think that that's something that is very special. I'm very proud to have been your coach. The 1974 year is going to be very special to me as long as I live. Today, I see so many of you. You've written me letters, you've spoken to me on the telephone, and you're always there. And you lift my spirits up. And I'm so proud that I was your coach. And I hope that all of you have good health, and I hope that all of you will enjoy life to the fullest, and keep on working hard, keep on caring for one another, care for your family, and things are going to work out really well. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate this time talking to you. God bless you all and have a good time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I don't know if anybody noticed Greg's pant leg. He had a little wet spot there. You see that? And I want to tell Greg that I coached his brother and I told him to go beat you up. In the fall of 1971 and the fall of 1972, I first met the players who were seniors and juniors on the 1974 state championship football team. I was fortunate to coach them as freshmen, and in the fall of 1973, I coached these same players at the varsity level. As they will tell you, we had some very memorable moments in those 3 seasons. There's too many of them to talk about tonight, but I'd like to bring out a few of them. During our practices, if our defense wasn't doing too well, I'd stop practice and I'd say, "Defense, run in place." I'm sure they all remember that. And I would blow the whistle and we'd do about 100 down ups. And they learned not to make that mistake ever again. And the second thing I remember, that they remember too, especially my second team, and you'll have to help me out with this. We were playing Divine Child, the very first game of the season. And I came to them the very first day of practice of that week, and I said,
"I will not lose to Mickey Brzezinski."
Everybody, I will not lose to Mickey Brzezinski. Mickey Brzezinski was my friend from high school. He coached the Divine Child team. And those young warriors came through for me. I think we beat them 26-0. I can remember Pat Callahan coming off the field and saying 0. So I appreciate that. However, what I remember most about these players is their high intensity level, their outstanding attitudes, the amount of confidence with which they played, and how much each player was more concerned about the team than about himself. They were just great kids. These were the kind of young men that we want our children to be like. 22 of these players from the 74 team went on to play at the college level. But to me, more importantly, over 95% of them graduated from college. These players now are successful businessmen, successful husbands, and successful fathers. I also want to mention the coaches, as Coach Fracassa did before, but I want to mention them again. Coach Mike Popson, may he rest in peace. Coach Ron Kalzinski. Coach John Walker. And of course, the greatest leader of all, Coach Al Fracassa. I taught and coached with these men, and I'm very proud to say they are my friends. Tonight in the audience, I hope she's still here, Joyce Popson. Can you please stand up? Thank you for coming tonight and representing Mike. The other coaches could not be here tonight. 2 are out of town, and as you know, Coach Fracassa had surgery January 27th and was not able to attend, but we're thankful he at least gave us a video. There has been talk about the 1974 team being a mythical state championship team because there was no state playoff system at the time. There did not have to be a state playoff system for this team to be chosen the best team in the state. The schools they played, the newspapers who wrote about them, and especially the coaches around the state knew they were the best team. Not just in 1974, but one of the best of all time. I was lucky to come to Brother Rice at a time when the players were very talented and dedicated to being champions. These players are very special to me. I am proud to have coached you, and I am proud and honored that you were part of my life. I love you guys. I'm not sure why it took 40 years for this to happen, but ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 1974 state championship team and the new members of the Brother Rice Hall of Fame. I would like to now introduce Ted Fox, the captain of that team. He's going to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
First of all, before I start my remarks, I want to make a comment. Brad Galley, at the opening, he talked about he had the privilege of doing, in coaches last season, a series of charting his whole season, the last of 54. Brad's a pretty humble guy, and I'm not speaking, a school coach told me this. Brad won an Emmy for that series. When we came in to Brother Rice as freshmen, you model behavior. You know, you look at the upperclassmen and they kind of dictate what's appropriate, what's not. And you know, I would be remiss if I did not mention the impact that Greg Collins had on us. You know, this was our first superstar. This was an All-American. This was a legend. This is the guy we watched on weekends on national TV, and he would frequently come back throughout the season. And he was the humblest, most self-effacing, best person you could model in terms of how to win with grace and how to accept success in the proper way. So thank you very much, Greg, for the impact you had on us. In the beginning, there was Dave Yeager. We were the first class that Coach Yeager taught, or that coached on the freshman team when we came in '71. I believe there was a very calculated reason why Al Fracassa brought Dave Yeager into Brother Rice. He wanted to show the Brother Rice people what it was to not be a candy ass, what it was to know what really work ethic was, what it was like to be a Shrine player. And Shrine was a school that locally had a lot of successful coaches there and had our first local superstar, Jim Seymour. But Coach let us know very early what the expectations were to play at Brother Rice and to play in a Coach Fracassa system. And thank you very much for the impact you had on us. There was a poem that was written about 100 years ago by Robert Frost. And the poem talks with joy about taking the road less traveled. Our team was born between 1957 and 1960. We were the height of the baby boom. The road less traveled was crowded. What we learned, what we were brought up with, was competition. but it was a good competition. And it was a meritocracy. We had to earn our position every single day. And in our senior year, in the 1974 team, our toughest competition was not when we played on the weekends. It was Monday through Friday when we played against each other and had to earn our positions for that week. I found in life that you can either embrace competition to enhance or improve your skills, or you can run away from it and spend the rest of your life making excuses for why you failed. I look out in the room today and look at my teammates, and I see people that use the success from 1974 as a stepping stone through how they raised their children, how they raised their family, and how they ran their businesses. Amongst my teammates are numerous CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, and what we learned in 75 we carried with us, and the bond that we created in 1974 will carry with us the rest of our lives. Finally, I think it's very important that we should pay things forward. We had the opportunity to be very successful, and much of the reason for that was not only our coaches, but the system that we grew up in Brother Rice High School. And I challenge all of you, we have a number of opportunities. Brother Rice has a number of scholarship programs that need funding, and let's pay it forward. And finally, from a personal standpoint, some of you know this, most of you don't, but going into my senior year in high school, my family moved to California, and I was faced with a very tough proposition. Do I go with them, with my family, and move to Santa Barbara, California, finish 1 year there, or stay with my teammates and have the run of a lifetime? And please indulge me for this. I'd like to personally thank my aunt and uncle, Aunt Jean and Uncle Joe Jewett. Thank you very much on behalf of the 1974 team. It's a distinct pleasure to be here tonight.